Daily Words of God.
First, God created Adam and Eve, and He also created a snake. Among all things, the snake was the most poisonous. Its body contained venom, and Satan used this venom to utilize it. It was the snake that tempted Eve to sin. Adam sinned after Eve did, and the two of them were then able to distinguish between good and evil. If Jehovah had known that the snake would tempt Eve, and that Eve would tempt Adam, why did He place them all inside a garden? If He was able to predict these things, why did He create a snake and place it inside the Garden of Eden? Why did the Garden of Eden contain fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Did He mean for them to eat the fruit? When Jehovah came, neither Adam nor Eve dared to confront Him. And it was only at this time that Jehovah knew that they had eaten the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and fallen prey to the snake's trickery. In the end, He cursed the snake, and He cursed Adam and Eve. Jehovah was not aware when the two of them ate of the fruit of the tree. Humanity became corrupt to the extent of being evil and sexually promiscuous, even to the point that the things they harbored in their hearts were all evil and unrighteous. They were all filth. Jehovah thus regretted creating humanity. Thereafter, He carried out His work of destroying the world with a flood, which Noah and his sons survived. Some things are not actually as advanced and supernatural as people might imagine. Some ask, since God knew the archangel would betray him, why did He create it? These are the facts. When the earth did not yet exist, the archangel was the greatest of heaven's angels. It had jurisdiction over all the angels in heaven. This was the authority that God granted it. With the exception of God, it was the greatest of heaven's angels. When God later created humanity, the archangel carried out a greater betrayal toward God upon the earth. We say it betrayed God because it wanted to manage humanity and to surpass God's authority. It was the archangel that tempted Eve into sin. It did so because it wished to establish its kingdom upon earth and to make humanity betray God and obey it instead. It saw that there were many things that obeyed it. The angels obeyed it, as did the people upon the earth. The birds and beasts, trees, forests, mountains, rivers, and all things upon the earth were under the care of man, that is, Adam and Eve, while Adam and Eve obeyed it. The archangel thus desired to surpass God's authority and to betray God. Later on, it led many angels to betray God, which then became various unclean spirits. Has not humanity's development to this day been caused by the archangel's corruption? Humanity is only the way it is today because the archangel betrayed God and corrupted humanity. This step-by-step work is nowhere near as abstract and simple as people imagine. Satan carried out its betrayal for a reason. People are unable to comprehend such a simple thing. Why did God create the heavens and earth and all things, and also create Satan? Since God despises Satan so much, and Satan is his enemy, why did he create Satan? By creating Satan, was he not creating an enemy? God did not actually create an enemy. Rather, he created an angel, and later the angel betrayed him. Its status was so great that it wished to betray God. One could say that this was a coincidence, but it was also an inevitable trend. It is similar to how one will inevitably die at a certain age. Things have already developed to a certain stage. There are some absurd ones who say, "Since Satan is your enemy, why did you create it? Did you not know that the archangel would betray you? Can you not peer from eternity to eternity? Do you not know its nature? Since you clearly knew that it would betray you, then why did you make it archangel?" Even if one ignores the matter of its betrayal, it still led so many angels and descended to the world of mortals to corrupt humanity. Until this day, you have been unable to complete your 6,000-year management plan. Is this right? Are you not putting yourself through more trouble than is necessary? Still others say, had Satan not corrupted humanity through the present day, God would not have saved humanity this way. In this case, God's wisdom and almightiness would have been invisible. Where would his wisdom manifest itself? God thus created a human race for Satan. In the future, God would reveal his almightiness. Otherwise, how would man discover God's wisdom? If man did not resist him and act rebelliously to him, it would be unnecessary for his acts to manifest themselves. If all of creation were to worship him and obey him, he would have no work to do. This is even further from the reality of things, for there is nothing filthy about God, and so he cannot create filth. He reveals his acts now only in order to defeat his enemy, to save humanity who he created, to defeat the demons and Satan, which hate him, betray him, and resist him, which were under his dominion and belonged to him in the very beginning. He wants to defeat these demons, and in doing so, reveal his almightiness to all things. Humanity and all things upon the earth are now under Satan's domain and under the domain of the wicked. God wants to reveal his acts to all things so that people may know him and thereby defeat Satan and utterly destroy his enemies. The entirety of this work is accomplished through revealing his acts. All of his creatures are under Satan's domain, and so he wishes to reveal his almightiness to them, thereby defeating Satan. If there were no Satan, he would not need to reveal his acts. If not for Satan's harassment, he would have created humanity and led them to live in the Garden of Eden. Why did he never reveal all his acts for the angels or the archangel before Satan's betrayal? If the angels and archangel had known him and also obeyed him in the beginning, then he would not have carried out those meaningless acts of work. Because of the existence of Satan and demons, people resist him and are filled to the brim with rebellious disposition, and so God wishes to reveal his acts. Because he wishes to do war with Satan, He must use his own authority to defeat Satan and use all his acts to defeat Satan. This way, his work of salvation that he performs among humanity will let people see his wisdom and almightiness. The work God does today is meaningful and in no way resembles what some people say. Is not the work you do contradictory? Is not this succession of work merely an exercise in troubling yourself? You created Satan, then let it betray you and resist you. You created humanity and then handed it over to Satan, and you allowed Adam and Eve to be tempted. Since you did all these things intentionally, why do you detest humanity? Why do you detest Satan? Are these things not of your own making? What is there for you to hate? Many absurd people will say that they wish to love God, but in their hearts they complain about God. How contradictory! You do not understand the truth. You have too many supernatural thoughts, and you even claim that this is God's error. How absurd you are! It is you who fiddle with the truth. It is not God's error. Some people will even complain over and over, "It was you who created Satan, and you who gave humanity to Satan." Humanity possesses satanic disposition. Rather than forgive them, you detest them to a degree. At first, you loved humanity to a degree. You struck Satan into the world of man, and now you detest humanity. It is you who detest and love humanity. What is the explanation for this? Is this not a contradiction? Regardless of how you look at it, this is what happened in heaven. The archangel betrayed God in this way, and humanity was corrupted in this way, and continued until today in this manner. Regardless of how you phrase it, this is the whole story. However, you must understand that God does today's work in order to save you and in order to defeat Satan.